Hey, Gamertag Radio listeners, if you live in the South Florida area, I'm going to be in Miami to celebrate the release of our new book that's coming out September 15th called Danny Loves Video Games. This is based on a true story about my life. So we're having an author series with my cousin, Mr. Luna, and of course, me. We're going to be reading the book, asking questions, tell you the story, the behind the scenes stories of how we launched and came up with this concept and everything. And it's happening in Miami, Florida, Thursday, September 15th at 6:30 p.m. And we're going to be there at the Kendale Lakes branch. And the address is 15205 Southwest 88th Street, Miami, Florida. So if you would like to be part of this event, we only have 20 tickets available left. After this is gone. It's going to be a full event. More than a little bit over 100 people. So make sure to go right now and register. So for more information, go to the description of this episode, click the link, and register. I hope to see you there. Remember, also pre-order the book, Danny Loves Video Games, now on Amazon.
1, 2, 3, 4.
Ladies and gentlemen, podcasting since 2005. You're listening to Gamertag Radio with your hosts, podcaster Hall of Famer Danny Peña, the always opinionated Paris Lilly, and from outside of the norm, Peter Toledo. This is Gamertag Radio.
Welcome to Gamertag Radio episode 1223. This is your host, Danny Peña, and joining the whole Gamertag Radio crew, rare moment right here. Rare. We also have here Paris Lilly. Paris, what's up, man?
Hey, good morning. How you doing?
Good. And also, the returner, Pete. What's going on, Pete?
What's up? Glad to be back, man. Glad to be back.
Oh, that's good, man. Welcome back.
Thank you.
Yeah. We were actually talking about this earlier, man. It is hot as hell here in Los Angeles, man. Paris, have you experienced this type of heat? Because it reminds me of like Vegas, kind of this heat here in LA.
Yeah, I mean, yeah, it's hot as hell. And I remember it's funny because I've been living in this house since 2006. I remember the first year when we went through a summer in this house, it was like this right now. Where I am in Southern California, I mean, dude, it's been like 112, 115. And yeah, it's hot as hell. My electric bill is suffering for sure.
Oh, it's going to be ridiculous this month. For sure. All right, everyone, head over to gamertagradio.com. Listen to our past episodes. You can also find us on any podcast app. Just search for Gamertag Radio. Follow us, subscribe, and also post your review. If you would like to be part of our fan mail discussion, here's how you could contact us.
Send us your feedback or questions. Give us a call at 786-273-7GTR. Email us at fanmail@gamertagradio.com or leave a message on speakpipe.com/gamertagradio.
All right, so I've been seeing a lot of reviews of The Last of Us Part 1. I know Paris and I have been very vocal about this now on Twitter for the past couple of weeks now. And Pete, I don't know if you've been seeing the reviews or not, but I got a review copy early from Sony PlayStation. Also, Paris, thank you to the whole PlayStation team for giving us early copy of the game. So I had to also review this with my team on XPlay G4. And here's the thing. Everybody has been having so far the same feedback about the whole thing, same opinion, that the game is beautiful. The game is one of the best stories I ever played in gaming in the past decade or so. But for me, as a fan of The Last of Us the first one, there is nothing really new into this. Like the only thing that you could tell is like the graphic looks beautiful, the accessibility features that they've been adding in the game, which is awesome, But is the game worth $70? And I've been having conversation with multiple people about this, and also with Paris. Like, I love the game. If you have never played The Last of Us, I think this is like a must-have, great game for you to check out. You could even purchase the old one if you want like the remaster and play it on the PlayStation 5 and everything like that. But if you play this already, I think there's it's not worth it in my opinion for me, unless you're a huge fan. And there's a reason why PlayStation released this game like this, because the new TV series is about to come out sometime next year, also on HBO. And they're trying to get that new audience to play this game through their console, and hopefully in the future on PC. So Paris, I know you review it also for Kind of Funny a couple of days ago, and let's go from there, man. We can start a conversation about the game.
No, I think you pretty much hit on my thoughts on it. Obviously, I've been pretty vocal about it since this was announced, and we saw what the full retail price was going to be. It isn't. I think the most important thing here is you judge the game for what the game is, and this, like it Kind of Funny, we gave it a 5 out of 5. The game itself is amazing. No one's questioning that at all. But this is still the same game that came out in 2013 and was remastered in 2014 from a story standpoint. The love and the care that Naughty Dog put into this is from a visual standpoint. There are AI improvements. There are some gameplay improvements to bring this more in line with The Last of Us 2. That's not in question at all. This is a labor of love for what that studio did. I don't think we should sell that short at all. My point is, and to not repeat a lot of what you've already said and what's been said in previous reviews, is the unfortunate thing about this is we have to talk about this from a value proposition standpoint. We have to talk about, was this needed 9 years after its initial release? That's unfortunately has to come into the conversation. But to your point, and as I said in the Kind of Funny review, if you've never played The Last of Us, go pick it up right now at $70. It is absolutely worth the money. It is worth your time to experience this. This is one of the best stories told in entertainment, period. That's not in question here. What becomes very subjective is if you've already played this game, if you've played it multiple times, that's when you have to start questioning, do I need to run out day one and go pick this up at full retail price? I personally say, no, you do not. But that is up to you. You decide what's worth it to you. You decide if you want to pick this up, if you've previously played this game. I personally think, and I said this in the previous review, if this was $49.99, we're not having this conversation right now. We're all celebrating this. We're all like, yep, let's go grab this. Let's play it again. Like, no one's questioning, do you need to pick this up day one if this was at $49.99? And that's kind of my point on it. And I know some people have been upset at me because I've questioned, is this worth a full $70 price point? $70 is obviously a brand new thing here in this generation of gaming. And there's been some question about that overall. That's not what I'm saying as far as a new experience goes. I'm saying this being an experience that we've already had a couple times, in 2013 and 2014. Should I go out and spend the full $70 on this? I just don't think so. I mean, yes, it does some fun things with the DualSense. Yes, the 3D audio is great, from a PlayStation 5 standpoint. I'm not questioning that either. But to your point, Danny, they made this because the show's coming out and they know there's going to be a new influx of people that are going to want to experience this game, and to kind of quote unquote modernize it to be on par with its sequel does make sense in that standpoint. I totally get it. I just wish this was more value consumer friendly for everybody, for new people and returning people. That's kind of my only thing. But if you've never played this game, yes, go spend the $70 on it. You will have a great time. It will absolutely compel you to want to then jump into the sequel and continue the story of Joel and Ellie. So we'll see.
After this, ask a question, man. What if? Well, you still do. But anyways, besides the what if.
What, can I pause you before you say that? Because chat brought this up, and I apologize for not bringing this up. And you should apologize for not bringing it up too. We didn't talk about the accessibility features in the game. I brought it up.
Did you?
He did say he said the words accessibility.
Listen.
He said the word accessibility.
For once, I didn't listen. We're used to you not listening. I didn't listen, so I apologize. But yeah, the accessibility features obviously is another great value add to this.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
Go ahead.
Okay. Oh, I thought you were going to continue.
That's all.
All right. So my question to you, Paris, and Pete, please chime in if you want. We've been buying games that came out for a PlayStation 4, and now it's available on PC. What is the difference between that, Paris, besides the price? Because you're still rebuying the same game from before, and it looks better graphically and everything, like in the PC. People are going to start asking those questions too. Your thoughts?
I don't see why not. I mean, look, PC is a fickle, expensive genre of gaming. In and of itself, right? I mean, just the barrier to entry is the most difficult part, which is why consoles to this date still dominate the space, right? Because it's cheaper, less technical knowledge required, and it's a lot quicker to get into it. I think they'll price it at whatever they price it across the board, in my personal opinion. I think it's still a testing market where they're trying to identify whether 70 or 80. I mean, look, we've had this conversation for years now, right? About about the value add of increasing the price of games in relation to how these budgets have exploded 300%, 400%, 500% over the last 10, 15 years, which was the last time we all had a price jump from 50 to 60. In my personal opinion, I think it makes sense to accommodate that. Even going back to The Last of Us when it first came out, 2014?
2013.
2013? Okay, so 9 years ago when it came out, 10 out of 10, probably one of the best games of that year, if not the best game of that year. So if you try to translate that into what Sony's trying to do today, which is provide it to the market, to those, because right now it's targeted to those that have never played it, right? Primarily, right? There's a small contingent. Obviously, they're sending it to people who have played it before, but want that new addition, that new value or that new added experience. If this would have been price jumped back then and set that bar for high pricing, would it have been worth it back then? And what is the difference today? Same thing, right? It's the same thing, right? If you're getting the best game or the game of the year, and yeah, you had to pay $10 extra, whether it's back then or today, would it have been that? Is it that big of a question? Is it still as questionable as a move as it is today in today's?
I mean, P, the difference is the game already been released 3 times.
Of course. Hey, I'm playing in with the what if scenario here.
I know.
It's something you do have to take into consideration. But and look, Sony's more than allowed to go ahead and make that move, whether it's specifically for in conjunction with the launch of the TV show that's coming out or what have you. I still don't think that maybe 70 for a remaster, whatever you want to call this. Is or was the right move. That's my personal opinion. Obviously, this is a subjective discussion, and everybody's entitled to that. I mean, if you do this in 10 years and you try to drop it at $75 or $80 in 10 years to be a remaster, is it still of the right decision then? Because they're trying to leverage the 20th anniversary or the 25th anniversary. Does it still make sense to continue adding, does it still make sense to continue to jump the price as a result?
Couple thoughts on this. So, this will probably get clipped now. I'll be in trouble. So, couple thoughts on this.
Yeah.
If the original Last of Us in 2013 came out at $70 and it was the game that it was back then, yeah, you'd be like, damn, why are they charging $70 and the games were normally $60? But then you would have picked it up and played it and go, you know what, that was worth it. because it was an amazing game.
Right.
The issue is, it was back in June and it is right now in September since they first announced this. Why? Number one, why are you releasing this for a third time in less than 10 years? And why are you charging me full retail price? And you don't even have to listen to me because people get mad at me for whatever reason. I guess because I talk a lot. Go watch the Digital Foundry video on the same topic. Go look at the fact that Angry Joe literally just he re-uploaded his review from 2014 and called it the remaster of it, right? As a joke. But the point on that is, this isn't like the Dead Space remake that EA is doing, where they are literally reimagining what Dead Space is. This is not a 1-for-1. It's the same exact story, the same exact encounters that you had from, what was that, 2007, 2008, whenever that was. They are reimagining what Dead Space is. This is the same exact story that you played back in 2013. Yes, they've kind of some enemy encounters have moved around a little bit, and obviously the AI is going to act differently. I get all that. But for all intents and purposes, this is the same experience that you had 9 years ago. And that's when I think it is valid to come in and question this. And this is where, like, people are upset at me because it's like, how dare you question this? I can question it despite getting a review code for it, because I'm looking at it from the standpoint of a consumer, and I'm looking at it from the standpoint of a gamer who's already played this multiple times. So then that's when I raise the red flag and go, wait a minute, you're charging me full retail price for this. This is why I said in the Kind of Funny review, they didn't make this for me. They made this for new people that are going to watch the TV show. I think that's a very important distinction to have. Now, if you choose to want to go re-experience it again and pay full price for it again for what ultimately becomes a visual upgrade and some subtle gameplay tweaks, knock yourself out. It's up to you. I will never, ever sit here and tell someone how to spend their money. But I am definitely telling you how I would spend my money, though, and I would not spend full retail price for this. And that's after playing it and reviewing it from start to finish. And the other part of this is Trey played it. I let my son play it, right? We kind of played it in tandem where, he would go through it, I would go through it, until we both completed it. And it was fascinating to see his experience with the game because he loved it. But this was also his very first time with these characters in this story. So for him, absolutely it was worth $70. And that's kind of my point. I just think because people are going to go double, triple dip on this that have already played it. I just wish you looked out for those consumers more and said, you know what? Yeah, we could probably charge $70 for it, but let's do a value proposition here. Let's reward our most loyal fans who have been with us since 2013, and let's price it at $50. And we're not complaining. We're not having this discussion right now. And that's what's unfortunate about this. I think a lot of what Naughty Dog has done gets lost because we waste so much time talking about the price of it. And we waste so much time talking about, well, why did they bring this out in less than 10 years? We're not having this discussion if it was $50, because take it back to, was that 2012? I forget exactly, the Gears of War remaster that they did, right? Mm-hmm. It was $40. Visual upgrades, and it was great. But no one was complaining about that because they weren't charging you the full $60 for it. And I use that as the gauge here for the same exact scenario. I feel like if you charged me $50 for this, which would have been a $20 discount, at full retail, I would be more willing to want to go re-experience this again and see all the visual and fidelity upgrades that you've done with the game, because they are great. Let's not undersell that. What Naughty Dog has done with this is great, but it is still the same story. And that's kind of just my whole thing about it. And I know people are upset with me because I've questioned it and all that. And, I didn't have to spend the $70 to experience it, but that still doesn't change my opinion that I initially had in June and I've now had in September after fully experiencing the game. I think it's great. I think it is fantastic for newcomers to the series. I just question this as someone who has already experienced it should I really be spending full retail value on it? That's all. That's literally it. And people can be upset with me if they want. That's fine. But it's just an opinion at the end of the day. And ultimately, it is up to you on how you want to spend your money, not me. I can't make you spend anything that you don't want to spend.
Yeah, you know, I'm going to play this voicemail that is kind of relates to this because, you know, we're still talking about PlayStation. And I'm going to play the voicemail right now. Let me go right here. Here goes.
What's going on, Gamertag Radio? How are you good brothers doing? This is Keon calling from Baltimore. I actually have just two quick questions for you guys. Jim Ryan has already come out and said that prices will increase of the PS5 in certain territories due to manufacturing costs going up. My question to you guys is, does this shed a little bit more light on possibly that PlayStation 5 was going to be more expensive, maybe $600 for the physical and $500 for the digital version? Because we do know that the Xbox Series S leaked early, and so did the price. So I'm sure that Sony, they didn't want to have a repeat of the PS3 generation where they were outpricing Microsoft by $100 or $200 at that time. So that's my question to you guys. The second question I had for you is, since they are increasing the price of the PlayStation 5 in these certain territories, do you think that it's the customer's fault? Because we've been seeing a lot of damage control, people saying that, well, it's worth it. I'll still buy it even if it's $700. I would buy a PlayStation 5. So do you think that to a certain extent, the customer base of PlayStation is to blame for this hike in price because PlayStation thinks they can get away with it? I would love to hear you guys' thoughts. Sorry for the long message, but with that being said, you guys are awesome, and you guys have a good one. Bye-bye.
Yeah, that's a great question from Keon. Keon, thanks for always sending us questions. I love his questions, man. It creates a great conversation with the whole crew. I'm going to go first with the whole, is it the customer's fault? Yes and no. One is, I feel that if people want to be vocal to see new changes from PlayStation, vote with your wallet. But if you go and defend this, saying, oh, it's okay, this is a premium product, it's okay, then of course, hey, this is true. I've been reading this online the whole time. If you do that, I think we're gonna see more moves like this from PlayStation. So, for example, like the conversation we're having now about The Last of Us Part 1, that's $70. The hardcore fans are gonna buy this. So it's basically saying it's okay, PlayStation, for the companies to continue doing this, you know? So I think it's very important to be vocal, but do it the right way instead of the, you know, attacking people. I think that's not the right way at all. Vote with your wallet. That's what I think. It's the same thing what we did with when Xbox One announced the price of was announced back in 2014, and we were very vocal about it and everything, you know what I'm saying? And look at the changes that was made because of us being vocal about it, you know? So that's a part I'm kind of like, man, I don't know. I wish people could, instead of being just that everything is okay with the company, I think it's good for people to just be vocal about it, man. You know what I'm saying? So I don't know, Paris, I see you laughing, but I'm very curious what you have to say about this or think about this, because you're cracking up. But you don't agree with me?
No, I'm never gonna blame the customer. So I wouldn't even say it's a yes or a no thing. Absolutely not. This isn't the customer's fault. Paris. Okay, pause for a second. Pause for a second. Pause for a second. Pause for a second. See?
No, but pause.
I didn't say anything. Go ahead.
Oh, pause for a second. In a way, Paris, if people are still supporting this, then yes, I'm going to blame the customer too.
No.
Yes.
No.
I'm sorry. We'll stay like that.
I let you talk, and then I try to talk, and you literally cut me off.
You know what? You talk. You talk.
Jesus Christ.
You may speak.
No, all I'm saying is Twitter is not a gauge of the real world. So when you see people on here, because number one, they're lying. They don't even believe what they're typing when they say that stuff when they're defending this. So don't for 1 second believe the stuff that you see on Twitter when they defend a price increase and say, oh, this is good and all that stuff. They don't believe that. They're just saying that to get attention online. Nobody wants to spend money they don't have to. So no, I'm not going to blame the customer for that. But we talked about this a few episodes back. This ultimately comes down to competition. To Keon's point, you goddamn right. Sony or even Xbox probably wanted to charge way more for their consoles than they did back in 2020, but neither one did. Want to know why? Because competition. Obviously, PlayStation has made this choice right now because of the state of the world, inflation, economics, and all that. And they feel somewhat justified in certain markets to raise the price right now, but they didn't in the United States. Why? Because of competition. They'd be insane to raise the price and give Xbox a competitive advantage against them. So that's why it wasn't raised in the United States. But to your point about people being vocal and vote with their wallet, yes, I agree. But at the same time, these PlayStation 5s and the Xboxes or whatever, it's not trying to just blame it 100% on PlayStation. But the point is this. They're so hard to find right now that people are paying a premium anyways outside of the retail market that, yeah, Sony's going to be able to get away with raising the price because it's a supply and demand issue and people want these consoles and they want these next gen experiences. Does it suck? Absolutely it does. But it is not realistic to think right now in this market that people are going to boycott paying an extra, I guess it averaged out to what, about $50 globally to pick up one of these consoles. They're going to do it. They're going to do it, not like it, but they're still going to do it. So I'm not going to blame the customer for that because it's almost a you don't have a choice kind of thing. And yeah, you could go pick up the competitor's console and go in their ecosystem and all that. But people like what they like. They like the games that they like to play. So in the short term, it's not realistic to think that people are just simply not going to go buy these consoles or go pick up these games because they want them and they want those experiences. You see what I'm saying? Hell, this goes back to this Last of Us conversation that we're having. People are going to go spend that damn $70 because whether they played it or not, if they're hardcore enough and want to experience that game, they're going to spend the money to do it. Whether it doesn't matter, damn what I say, doesn't matter what I say. It doesn't matter what I think is a value or not. Again, it comes back to being subjective in that standpoint. So no, I won't blame the customer on it. Yes, of course, PlayStation wanted to charge more than they initially did. And in the current market, they feel somewhat justified to do it. That's all.
What about you, Pete? Do you agree or disagree? Because you live international. You're outside the United States. So the price increase is also going to affect you.
Oh, no, this price increase definitely impacts me. I mean, first, I still don't have a PlayStation 5 because I can't find one here in Europe. And for them to have and for them to have done this across the board, I don't agree with it personally, especially because we're sitting here we're still in essentially a pandemic based, inflation across the globe as a result of everything. But now you're increasing the price on a product. Don't give me the premium excuse. I think that's bupkis. I think that's just market speak to try to alleviate and try to make it easier for their own for fans. But I mean, this increase is rather remarkable. It's 50 euros, which at this point you have to think about it. Okay, because the euro has actually taken a step back in value. It's now a 1-to-1 essentially with the US dollar. There's partial understanding as to why they did that. There's a £30 increase in the UK. I think there's a 5,000 yen increase in Japan, and just across the board. So seeing that they're doing that at the same time that sales in general for this industry has dropped, because it happened across the board. Xbox and Nintendo and Sony all admitted that there was a sales slump. From the beginning of 22 all the way through now. So it's understandable. Again, I don't agree with it. Just simply, how are you gonna raise prices on a product you still can't walk into a store and buy? You know what I mean? I mean, it was hard enough as it was when it launched pre-pandemic. Then during the pandemic, when everybody was stuck at home and looking for ways to pass time because they couldn't leave the house, it was still impossible. And we're almost 3 years now where you still can't find the product. Now you're going to bump the price up. I don't know. I disagree.
Yeah,
I don't like it.
Weird part about all this, there's a lighter version that just came out in Australia. I don't know why this is not available everywhere else, but again, the price increase. And I'm trying to figure out like why Sony would make this move if a couple months back they said that they got profits out of this console, and then now the price increased right after. I think it's a move where they know that people are still going to buy it no matter what.
And you want to know something funny? Technically, there's a price increase in the United States as well, because the only bundle that you can get for the PlayStation 5 is the one with Horizon Forbidden West, which is, ironically enough, $50 more. So think about it. And if you want Horizon Forbidden West, it's an amazing game. Don't get me wrong. Yeah, it's worth it if you were going to plan to pick it up anyways. But if you had no interest in that game, you're basically being forced to spend $50 more, to pick it up. Yeah. Which, like the chat even said it, I just wish, look, we don't know financials. We don't know reasons why. So it's not as easy to say, well, you shouldn't have raised the price elsewhere. They obviously had a reason to, and they knew they were going to get backlash for this. I just wish they would have done that in some other markets by including, the chat said it, include, 3 months, 6 months of PlayStation Plus Premium or something. You know what I mean? Do something to kind of offset it, to make people feel better about having to spend more money because, oh, look, now I get access to some of these digital games in your subscription service or something like that, right? I mean, again, try and take care of your customers as much as you possibly can. That's how I look at it.
Yeah, 100% agree.
Right. So the pure financial reason is they dropped a 2% decline in sales year over year, and operating profits plunged 37%.
Well, Pete, I'm so 40%. Glad you said that. I wonder why we're starting to see games go on PC. I wonder why we just see them make an acquisition of a mobile studio. I wonder why they now have a tiered subscription service. Maybe, call me crazy, just maybe, only having games tied to one platform, to one piece of hardware, isn't the right move in 2022 and beyond. Maybe. Call me crazy. I don't know. Maybe somebody's been saying this for years, that they were going to do this. And maybe some people were getting mad at me for saying that they were going to do this. But maybe that's what's happening right now. I don't know. Just call me crazy.
And maybe, Paris,
there's also
those same people that say that you're crazy, crickets. Not saying a word.
Well, of course. Yeah. And being serious for a second, being dead serious for a second.
Yes.
Even Colin Moriarty is saying it now, that PlayStation isn't going to openly admit that they're changing up their strategy, but they're changing their strategy. And I'm bringing it up. Look, it doesn't matter what Colin and I think about each other, but look, he's obviously very tied into PlayStation and into what they do, and he's seeing it, and he's openly saying it. And I have been saying this for a few years now, that of course they're going to broaden beyond just their one platform. It makes sense. And because people take that word exclusive, and, you see people trying to get all upset about stuff that even, Phil Spencer has been saying with the Activision deal and all that stuff recently. But the truth is, exclusive doesn't mean it's only on console. Exclusive can mean it's on multiple platforms. When Xbox saying it, and when PlayStation is saying it, because look, God of War ain't going to show up on an Xbox, just like Starfield's not going to show up on a PlayStation. So to be on those platforms, no, it's not. But PlayStation could put their games on mobile. They can put them in cloud. They can put them on PC and still say, hey, we have exclusive games, just like Xbox is doing. They're putting their games in cloud. They're putting them on PC. They're putting them on mobile platforms, but there will still be some exclusivity to some of their first party games. And I think that's the one, because people don't want to use logic in that because they want to argue about silly shit on the internet. But that's what's happening. They're expanding beyond the console to other hardware platforms. And there's nothing wrong with that. I'm very happy to see that. With the advent of crossplay and everything that's going on, it just makes sense. Let people play where they want to play on these games. And that may not be on a PlayStation 5. It may not be on an Xbox Series X. It might be on PC. It might be on their freaking phone. There's nothing wrong with that. Let them play where they want. That's all. And that's all that's happening right now. Despite people, they're, kicking and screaming along the way, it is happening before your very eyes. Xbox started it before PlayStation did, but PlayStation's doing it too. If you think they're not, you're fooling yourself. That's all.
Yeah. And that's extra money for the company.
Yeah.
It's smart.
And there's nothing wrong with it. You can still look. You want to play God of War Ragnarok on the PlayStation 5? You can still do it. Ain't nobody going to stop you from doing it. But don't get mad if somebody wants to play it on the PC. Not to mention, Last of Us Part 1 is coming to PC. This is what's happening. I will bet you cash money a year from now, I will be playing Horizon Forbidden West on the PC. It's going to happen. This is where they're going. And again, there's nothing wrong with it. Just like we just experienced Spider-Man on PC. It's great. Look at all those mods that have come out on Spider-Man on the PC now. Yo, Kermit the Frog, Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtles.
Oh man,
that's my favorite one.
Yes, the TMNT is so good. It's so good.
You're listening to Gamertag Radio.
All right, let's talk about our sponsor here at Gamertag Radio, and that's Backbone. What's holding you back from the ultimate gaming experience? Is it the hundreds of dollars it costs for your setup? Or are you a busy, on-the-go type with only minutes to spare? Level up your game with Backbone, the universal gaming essential that instantly enhances your gaming experience on mobile. Backbone just released a PlayStation edition of the beloved Backbone 1. The officially licensed controller for PlayStation was brought to life in collaboration with the PlayStation design team. The elegant colors, materials, and finishes all are inspired by the design of the DualSense PlayStation 5 controller, all the way down to the transparent face buttons and its visually distinctive floating appearance. Simply plug in your iPhone to the Backbone and enjoy console quality controls as you play console games via remote play or cloud streaming services and app store games. Guys, we've been talking about this for a very long time. I just love playing games on the go, especially if it's like through the cloud streaming services. And you could do the same exact thing with this controller, and you're going to be playing PlayStation games on the go by using PlayStation Remote Play, games like Apex Legends Mobile, Call of Duty Mobile, Minecraft, and much, much more. So, GTR listeners, if you're listening right now, take advantage of this offer. Go to playbackbone.com/GTR right now to order your Backbone for a limited time and get free access to over 350 console games and perks. Backbone is the official partner of Diablo Immortal. Not only the game was optimized for Backbone, but you will also receive $10 of in-game perks. Find your next adventure at playbackbone.com/GTR.
This is Gamertag Radio. Voicemail at 786-2737-GTR.
Good. All right,
so good.
Last topic, and this is going to be a very controversial one. Which is
I know. Yeah, this is.
Hey. Halo Infinite Season 3, March 2023. What's going on over there, bro? Like, I'm kind of upset because the company, the studio, they announced this as a live service. We're going to see a lot of content coming in. They should have planned this ahead. 343 should have planned this ahead instead of saying, we're going to release this live service, get ready. Because look, still to this day, I go back and play multiple games that have been out now that is free, multiple games that's always adding content, which is Fortnite, Apex. Pete does the same thing with PUBG and other games. Season 3, March 2023. I really don't get it, dude. And people are not happy about this. Halo fans are not happy about this. Who wants to start a conversation? Let's go for it, because this is the good one to talk about.
I think you just did. Why don't you keep going?
Well, I'm asking you, and I'm asking Pete too. The heck? You were cracking up,
All right.
looking at
look.
me.
Season 1 dropped November 21. Season 2, May 2022. That's on or about a normal season drop, right? Between seasons. Give it a 4 to 6 month time period and you're good. But for them to 9+ months for this, what is it? Not even April, now it's 10 months, right? Nearly a year to the date. For them to drop it, and then what they're giving as like an intermediary in November, right? Forge beta, network co-op, which now local co-op is outright canceled at this point. It'll never see the light of day.
Which one?
Which was honest.
Time out that one
split
because
screen?
I don't know how. I haven't seen the video, but people figure it out how to do it, and I've seen split screens. It's a bug, so. That's another thing that doesn't make sense. You say that it's canceled, it's not coming out, but then people
Canceled,
but people still do
it.
That makes no sense. I don't get it. I don't get that part at all, man. Really don't.
Just look, yeah, fine. They're giving you 2 new maps, but is that enough, right? At this point, and then you got to wait till March of next year for more maps, an extra weapon, and extra equipment. But again. Still no giant season winner, right? With games like Super People, which just came out of beta, which came out into the final beta just a week or 2 ago, Modern Warfare 2 coming up, Overwatch 2, and others in the FPS space. It's becoming extremely more crowded than it was probably at any given time. Is it too little, too late for 343? And like, where is the enticement to stay within the Halo franchise at this point? Like, they're saying that they're doing this for community, they're listening to the community, but I don't see where they're listening to the community. And at some point, you have to wonder is this how you're going to treat your flagship title?
Is it a flagship title for Rolando? Look, I love Halo Infinite. The game is great. Multiplayer is fun. The story was cool. I completed the whole campaign. The issue that everybody has right now is the lack of content for the multiplayer. Because look, once I was done. Like, there was no reason for me to go back and play this again. That's it. Paris, you want to go next?
Are we sure you want me to go?
Yeah, why not?
Absolutely.
So to answer your question, Pete, because I did a Twitter Spaces during the week when obviously all this broke, and I just wanted to hear what people were thinking. And somebody asked me in there, he was like, "Paris, I want your honest opinion. Do you think Halo is still a flagship title for Xbox?" No, it's not, and that's a damn shame, and it's unfortunate that it is not, just due to all the issues that Infinite has had over the past few years. Obviously, the initial delay was justified, and people were very happy to see that delay. The game itself launched in a very good state almost a year ago. We were, or at least I was patient with them not having Forge and co-op at launch because it was basically being promised just a few months after launch. I thought, yeah, that's okay. This is fine, because we assumed we were going to have all this multiplayer content to consume. We're going to have these 3-month seasons that we're going to be playing. Obviously, this has not been the case, and we don't need to relitigate all that. But when we got the news that we got earlier this week, and I got a little bit of a heads up on it, and I knew it was coming, and I was like, I hope this is not true, because if it's true, this is disappointing, and people are not going to be happy in the community, because it's yet again another delay, another dragged out season, and to Danny's point, the lack of content. At the end of the day, this all comes down to content. If you're not delivering content, people are not going to be happy. People are not going. And I say this as someone who is very sympathetic to 343 and all the challenges with development because of the people there. I know people there. There's good people there. This is not a reflection on the people at 343. But even if Joe Staten tomorrow did a 1-hour sit down and went through every technical issue that they're having right now with game development, or every logistical issue that they're having with remote work and all this stuff, and this is why things are delayed, no one's going to care. No one's going to be sympathetic to it. All they're going to say is, give me my content. That's what people want. And whether that's right, wrong, indifferent, whatever, it's just the truth of the matter. You want content. You want what you promised us. You promised us all this content in these seasons, and again, the Forge and the co-op and all these things. We talk about split screen getting canceled, things like this. These are all things you told us that we were getting for this game. You were the one that said this was going to be a live service game. No one asked for Halo to be a live service game. This is what they told us it was going to be. So an expectation was set. Like, Danny, you were joking around about just Fortnite and all that stuff, and just, that's a machine at this point, the amount of content they're putting out. Apex, again, is another one as an example. That is what you're being judged against, and you're woefully underperforming in that aspect. And it's a damn shame. It's a disappointment. What have I been saying since 2020? I said this is 2020. I should go find a tweet. You should see how many people were mad at me because I said this. I said then, I said in 2021, and I'm saying it now. Halo Infinite could not just be okay. It had to be great. And it's not even okay right now. It's just the truth. It's not me being a hater. It's not me, trying to start drama or anything. It's just a fact right now, unfortunately. Because again, we had Joe Staten on XCast, and we talked about all this stuff then. And, he walked in this, and he's doing the best job that he can to fix it. And that's where we're at right now. He's trying to get the game to where it should be. My whole thing is, I truly believe he will get the game to where it needs to be. I do believe there will be a day where Halo Infinite is delivering on all its promises. The problem is, will it be too late? I hate to feel like I'm leaning towards it's going to be too late. I hate that feeling. I hope there's a redemption story in here that Halo Infinite gets to where it needs to be. The community comes back and we're having a freaking blast. Because to your point, Danny, when at launch, I enjoyed the campaign for what it was. I enjoyed the multiplayer, but we just simply ran out of things to do. Like even Last Man Standing, when they brought that in with season 2, I really enjoyed Last Man Standing. I had a blast with it. It's going away. So it's not even going to be there right now. And I understand why these things are happening. Joe Staten, from a high level has discussed why, because they're trying to fix, and this is just my opinion on this, but it's pretty clear they're fixing things at a system level to get certain things in place, certain controls and things in place so that they can get in that cadence that we're looking for with content. But right now, that game engine is simply not capable of doing it for whatever reason. And that's what they're trying to get to. That's why they're trying to buy more time to get to March and beyond so that they can start delivering on that 3-month cadence of content. We get new modes and we get new maps, and they can start delivering more campaign content and all the other things that we're expecting. It's where we are. And it's a damn shame that this is where we are. And it's a damn shame that the literal game that made Xbox is in this state right now. And I'll just say this. I will never, ever advocate for anyone to lose their job. You will never hear that come out of my mouth because that's obviously been a thing that's been trending. People are asking me that in the spaces. And I was like, no, you will not hear me say anybody should lose their job over at that studio. Because I'm very thankful for the job that I have. And I understand talking to people. Like I remember having the conversations in 2021 with some people at 343 before Halo Infinite came out about the struggles that they were having with game development. And this was pandemic related stuff and all that. But hearing that conversation from real people and understanding the struggles that they were going through, I personally do have sympathy for it. But to my point, I understand the community as a whole will not. So no. You will not hear me say someone should lose their job over this. They're clearly something has to change. Don't get me wrong. I have a feeling that change is already in place. This is why I say again, with Joe Staten being there, I think he's doing what needs to be done. And they're going to take their lumps while doing what needs to be done to right the ship and to get the content flow going the way that it should. We're in the middle of it. I'm pretty sure they knew when they announced what they did that it was not going to be received well. So my hope is they put their heads down, deliver what they need to deliver with Forge in November, put their heads down again. March comes with season 3. They get things right and you just start delivering on the things that you promise. And like I said before, is it too little too late? I don't know. We'll see. I hope it's not, but there's no promises that it will be.
You know what? A couple of things I want to talk about. So I was watching Matt Booty's fireside chat with Brittany from What's Good Game. Shout out to them and to her. Great conversation, by the way. And Matt Booty mentioned about Xbox partnering with studios to help them work on their game. So I know he mentioned Microsoft Flight Simulator. They're partnering with a different studio for that. Perfect Dark right now, they have Crystal Dynamics helping them with the game too. And there's multiple games. I personally think, and I've seen this also with Bungie, with Destiny, Paris, right, Pete? Like they also partner with also studios to help them for the content or whatever it is that they're working on for the game. I think if they don't have the amount of people to do this, and I think it would be great for Xbox to partner with another studio so there could be more content from in the future. So I know it's going to take some time, but I hope I got to see that from Microsoft, and I think that would be very, very helpful. I don't know. I think I will go back and play the game if there's like new stuff in there, and I'll try it out. Because look, it's been helping with No Man's Sky. Remember when the game came out, people were really not liking the game at all, and look at it now. But here's the thing, Paris and Pete. In the past, we have seen this with Destiny that also had lack of content, but they still managed to create new content in like a year later or something like that. And people went back and started playing the game and the expansion. And look how it is now. They're still releasing new stuff, and there's more stuff coming up in the future. So what is the difference between that, that Bungie went through a lot too with Destiny, than with this one now with Halo and 343?
I don't know. I have an even rougher question. Who's at fault for this? Is this Joe Staten's fault, or is this
he joined in late? There's no way.
But wouldn't that decision still have been like, okay, look, we're not ready, or is it just?
Let's be real about this.
Trying to meet an expectation that they. But do you think that they can meet the expectation that's heaped on them right now to try to right this ship? Is it even like who needs to manage that expectation for us as gamers that we're expecting, a high quality AAA experience, and
I go back to what I said before, 2020, because again, let's just keep this real. When I say Halo can't be okay, it has to be great. That's what they're saying internally too. When we talk, is this the flagship, the whole thing, all that, they know they had to deliver on this, and it needed to be a quality, highly polished product. So when you talk about Joe Staten, he came in late. Chris Lee obviously left the project after the reveal in 2020. Joe Staten comes in. Very tough decisions had to be made. If you don't think at a senior leadership level, there's a lot of pressure to deliver this game, and clearly there was. And they obviously tried to deliver this after a year, time it up with the 20-year anniversary and all that. It makes a lot of sense. Should it have still been delayed? 100%. That game should still not be out. It's just the truth. It probably should be launching November 2022 is the truth. But you make the decision in the moment that you think is right, and that you think fans can obviously, accept and be happy about. Again, no one's questioning the launch of Halo Infinite. The launch of Halo Infinite was fine. The problem is they weren't able to then deliver a roadmap of content afterwards. Is that a Joe Staten problem? Is that an engine problem? Is that a resource problem? Is that a management problem, a leadership problem? We will never know. We'll never know. But I can't blame a guy that came into this less than, I'm bad at math, 18 months ago, when this has been in development for 6 years. That goes beyond him. If you want to blame Bonnie Ross, fine, because at the end of the day, she's the studio head. Leadership obviously is ultimately the one to blame. Hell, you could take it even further. Do you blame Phil Spencer? I mean, he's He's the head
that
of.
That was my question.
Yeah,
I mean,
I don't know.
it was either him or
Matt
Booty.
Booty.
Either one of them could be.
I mean, everyone has fault in this from a management and a leadership standpoint at some levels. Someone had brought up a good point. I forget who said it because, obviously everyone, fire Bonnie Ross, fire Bonnie Ross. At the end of the day, Bonnie Ross has to listen to the people that are under her, telling her that certain things are being delivered on a certain time frame. And you know how this works, Pete, obviously in management as well. You're listening to the people that you entrust, that work under you, that are in positions of management, in director roles, things like that. So she's and again, I'm not trying to make an excuse for anyone. I'm just being logical about this. If she's being told certain things are being delivered on time, or she's being told certain things are happening and then they're not meeting the expectation, it's her fault on some level, of course, because she's the leader, but she's entrusting the people below her. So this is when I say certain things need to change. This is why Joe Staten is there. He's obviously there to clean things up at a management and a director level so that things can start getting delivered on time. I mean, that's just the truth of the matter. But because I even saw someone in the chat try and relate this to sports. Well, you say I won't call for someone to be fired, but we do that in sports all the time. Which is true. But at the same time, sports is a little different because you're telling coaches to deliver on winning a game. I mean, we're not trying to win a game. You just want to deliver the product, the solid product, of course. So because I had even said this at one point, like, oh, give Halo to another studio. Number one, nightmare trying to do that. You think things are delayed now. Imagine trying to shift this over to a completely different studio, a completely different management leadership style, different developers, the whole thing, right? They're unfamiliar with this engine and everything that's been going on. Nightmare. Number one. Number two, whether it's 343, whether it's id, whether it's I don't know, the Clico studio, it doesn't matter. And then
I knew that was coming.
Yeah, I always go to Clico. I got to start switching out. I'm start doing it in television or something. But yeah. But the point is, 343 is just a name. It's the people making the game. No, I don't think anyone's questioning that there's ridiculously smart people at that studio that's making the game. So again, it comes back to how are they being directed? What is the management style? What's going on? Why are timelines not being met? Why are these systematic problems not being caught until late in the process? Those are the questions that need to be asked and that need to be answered. Again, I think they have been answered. What we're looking at right now is the aftermath of that, because now they know, well, shit, we need all this time to get this right and to fix it. And people are not going to be happy that it's going to take this amount of time to fix it. Mm-hmm. Look, trust me, I would love to have been a fly on the wall in those senior leadership meetings that were happening about this, because again, they're not happy. Of course they're not happy. This is Halo. This ain't Jiminy Cricket's 12. This is Halo. and you're not delivering on what is supposed to be the flagship title. You're simply not. This was supposed to be a return to form for Halo. Look, you can go, and it's insane to think that 343 has now had Halo longer than Bungie, right? You look since Halo 4, their track record, and it's not been good. This is just a truth, a fact. It has not been good. I forgive Halo 4 because I enjoyed the campaign, the multiplayer. Your mileage may vary. We obviously know all the problems that the Master Chief Collection had launching, the technical issues it had. And they're just now, in the last year or so, started to right that ship and get it to a good place to where it should be. Last couple of years, I should say. Halo 5 is Halo 5. That campaign, not good. Just wasn't. And here we are with Infinite. It's another, you took all this time to get it out the door, and then you got it out the door. You got it out the door in a good state, but you weren't able to follow up on what the game is supposed to be from a live service aspect. And here we are.
You know, is the part that sucks for 343. If they say something, it's bad. If they don't say anything, it's bad too. So there's no win for them, no matter what. The only thing they could do is just release great content.
That's the point. They got to deliver. Hey, you can say whatever the hell you want if you're delivering. But when you're not delivering, it doesn't matter what you say. People aren't going to be happy.
Mm-hmm. And a lot of people have been very quiet.
Mm-hmm.
This was released. I mean, it's because of the week, the holiday weekend too. But yeah, everybody's quiet, not saying anything else. And I think it's better that way, even though people are mad, because if they say something, I personally think it might get worse.
I agree.
Yeah.
I agree. And I've said this before. Go watch the Game Maker's Notebook. It's with the Academy, Interactive Academy. It's with Ted Price and Joe Staten. This just came out a couple weeks ago. Joe Staten talks about game development and 343 and Halo for an hour and 27 minutes. It's a fantastic conversation. And it's interesting in hindsight thinking about that conversation, because clearly he knew this was coming in that. And not that he was making excuses. It's just him stating facts about game development and the struggles that the studio has had getting Halo out the door. Mm-hmm. I highly recommend people go back and watch that. And to that point, even the 30-minute conversation that they just had about this roadmap update, he's never, and I would never even expect, they're never going to dive into super technical details about stuff everything you're going to get is at a high level. And that's really all you can do. Because until they start delivering, it doesn't matter. Like I said before, it doesn't matter how much Joe Staten tells you about any of the struggles they're having internally. Nobody's going to care because they're going to want the content.
Mm-hmm. Yep.
Sure.
Anything else before we wrap it up?
No.
All right. Good.
Great
conversation.
I don't think we can.
Great conversation. I love when we all get together, us three, because we always create some great content, man, because of it. So. But everyone, head over to gamertagradio.com, listen to our past episodes. Also find us on any podcast app. Just search for Gamertag Radio. Follow us, subscribe, and also post your review. If you can, send us feedback. Do you guys agree with us? Disagree with us? You have a great question for the crew? Make sure to hit us up, and here's how.
Send us your feedback or questions. Give us a call at 786-273-7GTR. Email us at fanmail@gamertagradio.com or leave a message on speakpipe.com/gamertagradio.
Are we going to wrap it up here? Thanks to Pete and Paris. Pete, welcome back. Hopefully,
thank you, sir. Thanks for having me back.
I hope we could still, record together again, because I just love our conversations, man.
Yeah, no, I'm back in town for the next several weeks, so travel, if I understand it, is not until the end of this month, and then that's when the wild trips start to happen. Thailand, Tokyo.
Ooh, must be nice. Yeah, actually, in 2 weeks. Actually, the week of the 14th, I'm gonna be in Miami.
Wait, did we end the show? Can I end the recording?
I haven't wrapped it up.
We'll
yet.
wrap it up
Jesus
and then have
Christ.
this conversation.
Jesus Christ! You see what I'm saying, guys? You see what I'm saying? Like, I'm here trying to promote a book, trying to promote Gamertag Radio. Paris, like, okay, can I stop recording? I'm like, yo, like, he just doesn't care what's going on. Jesus Christ! Jesus Christ, Paris! Really? Can I at least promote my book, Paris?
You're the one who said wrap this up in 10 minutes.
Yeah, I'm going by what you said. All of a sudden, you're like, Pete. So, Pete, how was your day? What's going on later? How's the wife? How's the kid? Like what's going on here?
Wow. Anyways, if you're listening to this or watching this, my book is coming out very soon. Paris doesn't care. But if you care,
I care.
Go right now and pre-order the book on Amazon. Danny loves video games, and I'm going to be in Miami. We're going to have a book release event over there. It's totally free. Go to the description of this episode. All the information is there.
Oh, God.
Paris wants me to stop, so we're going to stop recording right now. Thank you for listening. Until next time, we're out. Peace.
Thank God. I've been in the recording.
Thanks for listening to Gamertag Radio. Be sure to like us on Facebook and follow us on Twitter.